Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and another Stormworks Sea Trials. Before I get started this time with a really special ship, something that's a bit different, I wanted to kind of talk you through my process. So this is what I've got subscribed in the workshop. Basically I go for things that are, just look nice, look realistic, or have different features, or are simply from builders which I know are very good. And over the next few weeks, I'd really like to review, amongst other things, some of these more classic style of vessels here that are a little bit more sort of traditional to operate. I'd like to do a kind of tugboat head-to-head. So I've got this full-scale Damen tug here, and I've got this amazing harbour tug here with the Voith Schneider system. I will continue to do Spiders creations because I see that Spiders updated a couple of creations. Some of them basically sort of version 2, completely new. I've found these ones here which are full scale. They're not fully detailed interior, but it's pretty interesting to see, just how slowly they get going when you've got that much mass. I'll do more fishing vessels, some classics here. And I've still got to get around to doing some of these other ones. But generally, I'm just looking for things which are different in terms of the systems they have, realistic, or look very realistic. And I just love the fact that Stormworks is just such a good game for vehicle geeks. The kind of vehicles that the community create are just not your standard kind of things that people would want in a game. They're just stuff that people want themselves, and that's what I love about it. So this creator here called 454SS has got a really good imagination, and they've created some vessels around essentially a sort of a fictional underwater research agency. So you can see here OMA, and I think this sort of refers to, I think it's Ocean X, which is so Ocean X. Let me try and remember. This is what we're looking at here. It's basically billionaires or millionaires who kind of build these luxury yachts and sort of use them for research, amongst other things. So this is the one which I'm pretty sure is James Cameron. They've got a really cool lab on board, and it's pretty easy, to make this into an attractive thing for investors and that kind of thing. The other one is Rev Ocean, I believe. So Rev Ocean is, I know the ship because it's built with our software. I think it's the world's largest super yacht now, pretty much. So it's owned by a Norwegian oil billionaire. Or that's not quite right. I think he may have come from the fishing industry and made his billions in making offshore support vessels. It's a beautiful research vessel, but again, it's the same kind of thing. So they've got all sorts of cool people working for them. It's about research at the end of the day. You just might want to have a look at the photos here, because these are the best photos that I've ever seen of the shipbuilding process. Again, this was made with our software, so there's some really beautiful photographs in here. I think there's sort of 3 different photographers. Anyway, that's not the main point. This is a vessel along the same lines. As you can see here, it's got a big working deck. It's got quite a high, small superstructure, but it's got a big helicopter deck as a result of that. So we're going to have a look at that today. And this creator has created a great story around it. I love the way that they've done these perhaps Blender renderings and put them in here. And some of the features on board are really good. So it's not just a ship that's interesting and got a backstory. It's a ship that's also very functional and very advanced in terms of the systems. So it's called Almeria. So you can see here it takes up pretty much the full space in the creative harbour dock. It's actually a big ship, but it's got this very high central superstructure. And as we do a little section cut here, we'll see that most of that space at the front is just void, and there's basically engine room and some of the outfitting here in this central part here. So there's not too much up the front. Again, it's probably for performance reason. It's not laggy at all. It's a very well performing vessel. You can see here that there are several sort of working areas in this bridge, with large windows onto the working deck. There's what you call a hangar here for ROV, and it's a diving cage that they've got in there, which you can take out on the crane, on this gantry crane. So it's a really cool system. You've got loads of stuff to do on board this vessel. And you might be able to see here, it's got a very special propulsion system. So there's a lot of batteries, unusual amount of batteries on this vessel. And that's because it's got electric propulsion as well. And that's the main reason that I'm going to bring it in to have a look at it. So I'm going to kind of keep the tour of the vessel relatively short, because I'm mostly interested in the sort of seakeeping, the operation of vessels in my sea trial videos. So let's just jump on board. I'll give you a short tour. So it's basically a big gantry crane, and what I love is I believe these are copied in from other creators. So this is a cool thing about Stormworks, that you can basically take a module that somebody else has designed and done the logic for, bring it in and put it on your ship, just like real shipbuilding. You've then got here this massive hangar door, which you can fully open up, and I'm going to close it again. I was interested to see what happens under the deck when that's closed, but we'll maybe have an investigation later. Nice stairs up the side here, and then this huge foredeck for helicopter landing. It's completely open, no railings, nice and easy for helicopters. Not so easy when it's moving to land a helicopter on that kind of deck, which is why they're either up on a big platform on the real OSVs or at the back. Right, and then let's get in and just start looking at this vessel in terms of how it's operated. So we've got this beautiful big bay here. I'm going to close that. This is basically where you get ready for your missions, any deep sea operations. So you've got a lot of equipment in here. You've actually even got a decompression chamber. So this is me not doing what annoys me about other videos. I'd like to put the lights on, can't find them. Here we go. So it's actually got a decompression chamber for after you've come out of your dive. There is another vessel with a really good decompression chamber system all embedded on it, which I'll show you at some point. I think it's called the Triton. We can go through here into a lab area. So just like you saw on those web pages, you've got your cool place for doing your research, and you've got your meeting room here where all the cool young people that you've employed do your PowerPoint presentations. And then upstairs, I think there's some accommodation. I'm not going to do the accommodation in too much detail because, as you saw in the description, it's supposed to be fitted out as a yacht for the owner. So it's like the real Rev Ocean. It's a kind of luxury yacht. So we're still in this mezzanine level. Oh, sorry, forgive me. I'll do the engine rooms quickly. So it's a little bit confusing in here. Because there's not much forward. So this is where I'd expect to have a passage to go forward. You can see it's just a supply closet. We've got crew cabins in here. Actually, a lot of these things are just painted, and some of them are outfitted, but again, nobody ever uses these rooms really, so it's fine with me. And then we've got this lovely big engine room. So you start up on the side galleries looking down, and you've got basically, this is your electrical generation system at the front. So it's, I think it's dedicated just for the batteries. And you can see here, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 medium-sized batteries. And I was kind of excited thinking, oh, hopefully this can run on batteries for a while. But this system here is an automatic generator system that jumps on, springs into action when your batteries are below a certain level, and it's 50%. And then we've got this larger engines here for the normal propulsion. Usually these kind of vessels have diesel electric propulsion anyway today, so these just run go to an electric motor that runs the propeller anyway. But I'm very interested to do more with pure electric propulsion, but it looks like the batteries just don't have enough charge to do that. So let's see what she does if I go all the way back up here. So I'm going to just give you the tour through all the stairways here, and we've got this very long superstructure that starts to get interesting here. So now we're sort of up on the first deck of this the superstructure, the sort of long narrow one, and we've got here the crew mess, so where you hang out, where you get your meals, and you've got some of these kind of comfortable cabins in here, TV, bed, some painted cabins. Yeah, I'll just try and keep it to the sort of really interesting stuff. So up here we've got the working deck, so you've got crane operator, port, starboard, port, and a gantry operator. So you could have 3 people operating cranes in this at the same time. And then you've got this cool, you'll see this is sort of research area here. And I was wondering what this was for quite a long time. This is indicating what's on the deck and what's locked down. So at the moment we just have something in cargo slot 5. And yeah, that's what we use to sort of manage our inventory down there. Captain's quarters, got a double bed here, and their own private balcony, which I love. So it's a little bit more luxurious. That's typically what you would have in these things that are owned by millionaires, billionaires. Escape hatch up in the bridge here, just on one side I noticed, and then this beautiful 360 degree panoramic bridge, very good design here, with a little lounge and then just loads of space here, so it's very clean kind of setup in here. So we'll get her started up. Electrical systems on, so we can see here that the engines are off. This is your autopilot system, which has got a great multi-waypoint system, which I wish was on more vessels. I'll show you how that works in a moment. We'll turn the main power on, and we're not going to start the engines. We're going to do something pretty cool. So it's got a good old-fashioned LiDAR radar, which is really cool. Yeah, so this vessel, as you can see by my controls on the left-hand side there, can actually go an electric motor. So if I just hit 2 here, you'll see that we start to go. And if I go external, you'll see that there are 3 props, and the middle one is obviously the electrical one, pure electric power. So off she goes, completely silent, 0 emissions. I think ships will need this kind of propulsion system perhaps in the future to come into ports, certainly to go into cities like Hamburg or Rotterdam where the port is in the center. I can imagine that some kind of 0 emission propulsion to get in might be mandatory in the future. So it's really cool to see that. It's the first kind of electric propulsion I've tried in Stormworks. The thing about it is that the range is very limited before the diesel generators kick in. I'm not too sure what the creators got set as the threshold for battery level. There's no indication here of battery as far as I can see. No. So it would be nice to see that battery level, and you could probably make that into a huge thing like you have on electric cars. So I'm going to continue the sea trials on the battery so you can figure out when those generators kick in. You'll hear them. Needless to say, again, large vessel like this, it's got a good hull design, handles very realistically. I like the way it handles. It's got stabilization, at least here on the back, for roll, pitch, probably everything. So again, I'm never really too sure how much of that sea keeping ability that you see and that you sort of experience is really from these stabilization systems. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, she handles very well. A vessel like this with a high superstructure, you'd have to build that out of aluminium, perhaps that top bridge deck. If it was steel, you would have a little bit too much weight up high and it would roll badly. So let me take her onto a beam onto the wind course. So this is all under electric power, remember. But it looks like she's got very nice roll characteristics here, so no big problem. No doors or anything at the water level. There's a couple of vessels I've noticed have got doors at the water level, which are secured, behind a double door. Sometimes you need that for working vessels. She has a bow thruster system there. It's actually in the center of the vessel. It's not really at the front. So I'm not too sure what that's for. Let's try and get her to go along here. So she will drop down to about 8 knots, and she sort of cruises at 9 to 10 under electric power, which is actually, for real, if it was a real ship speed, that is actually respectable speed for pure electric propulsion. In Stormworks, it feels like you're not moving at all, 10 knots, but that's how fast ships move. A research vessel like this would probably be made with a cruising speed of 15 knots. I've worked on the design of I've been looking at the design of a research vessel a lot recently, and it's not got the biggest engines. It will do, I think it's 15 knots maximum speed, but these research vessels quite often have to trawl. So this is what I not trawl as in TROOLL, trawl as in TRAWL, the fishing. So I've just heard the diesel generators kick in, so it's done about, 3 minutes. Maybe the electrical consumption of these things, not too sure. What I wanted to show you is the research ship here. It's doing some sonar scanning here of the seabed. We've got the light here looking down at the sea bottom, and that's what this speed with under electric power is probably really good for, just to kind of cruise along at this 10 knots, which you'll do under electric power, giving you a good chance to monitor everything on the seabed. So now that the the diesel generators have started, I might as well start the main engines. So we've now got main engines coming up to temperature here, and it's a nice simple auto throttle clutch system here. So I'm just going to take her up to full speed here. So she'll do 31, 32. So again, it's pretty respectable speed. Not a real life speed. A vessel like this probably do like 25 maximum hull speed. 20 maybe. And what I wanted to test is without electrical propulsion. So I'm going to hit 3 and see if that drops down at all from 30. So not really. Aha. Electric power. Carefully watch battery if set above 30%. Okay, so that's what I was looking for. Battery charge. Okay, just trying to figure out what we can do with this. So I can apply more electrical power. Okay. Let's go back and do that. So engine's off. Engine temperature coming down. Fuel. Battery charge 8990. So I hit 2, and that'll give me 1 bump of electrical propeller, and I keep doing that. So let's see what she comes up to under electrical power. 18 knots. There we go. So she's running. I mean, I wish I could turn this generator off. I think there was a manual way to turn it off, but that's actually very respectable speed there. We can see here the battery 87. Generators are on, so it's holding. I'd love to find a way to turn off that auto generator system. I may go down and have a look at that, but that's a very respectable speed under battery power. Let's just go back on main engines again and see that. So yes, it comes up to 36, 35 with full electrical power. If I disengage this, yeah, so it's giving about 6 or 7 knots on top of the diesel engine only propulsion. So that charge will come back up again. As you can see here, sea keeping is very good. I'm not getting any bad rolling because of the high superstructure. So the only thing left to do is to take her into some more serious winds and waves. So we'll bring our wave up. And I'm assuming at 30 knots she'll do a bit of wave jumping. So undesirable, at least optically undesirable in the game. So I'm bringing her around into the wind. Yeah, pretty nice. Good freeboard there. So she's not got any issues of waves breaking over that deck there. I guess in a research ship like this, you would maybe be stopped when you're getting a helicopter coming to you. And I think your priority is that working deck at the back. So that's probably the reason you've got your heli deck at the front like that. But she handles very well into strong winds. And I'll take her side on. So no issue there of her really struggling to get through heavy seas. Research vessels are pretty seaworthy. They're built to go to Antarctica, the Arctic quite often. Sometimes they just go to nice places, but they're kind of like offshore support vessels in terms of their sturdiness. Usually ice class, usually pretty well powered because there's a lot of systems going on board. So you can see there she's not rolling badly at all with that high superstructure. So I assume that's the stabilization system helping with that on the side there. So we'll just cruise along a little bit more at the speed. Maybe turn the engines off again. So it's a little bit more quiet. Engage electrical. Really keen to try and get it to discharge its whole. Oh, one or more engine failures. I wonder if that's just because that's off. Yeah. So it's a bit of a strange warning. It's basically saying engine. Oh, okay. Might have to go and check the engine room there. Last thing to do in the sea trials is take the wind back down, and we'll stick her on nighttime. So you can see there some of the lights are on in the superstructure, but we've got here a whole bunch of lights. So we've got night vision. Let's put the running lights on, waterline lights, loads of spots at the front. In fact, take that night vision off. Put the lights to red, helicopter landing pad, deck lights, wall lights, spotlights, rear deck spotlights, lights everywhere. So there you go, lit up like a Christmas tree. Huge spotlight capacity on the front by the looks of it. Kind of all round lights on the waterline, very nice feature. But yeah, looking pretty good here with all the lights there. I haven't tested the cranes or anything else like that, but I'm pretty sure that's a pretty functional system. Apparently, I've seen from some of the comments, I see that you can take out that shark watching cage, which is inside the hangar, and yeah, deploy it off the back. It's a remote control, so you can actually bring it up and down yourself. And again, there's a nice thing in the story behind this. You know, it's designed for one-man operation, which would be so cool if ships this big could be operated by one person. That's all from me. Hope you enjoyed this research vessel Almeria sea trial. Very seaworthy vessel, very interesting because of that electrical propulsion system. Take care, and yeah, I'll be following up with some videos about tugboats. I'm going to do some tugboat trials, and at some point I'm going to do some sea trials to destruction. So basically find out what it takes to sink some of these vessels, which is going to be an interesting exercise from a naval architect point of view. That's all for now. Take care, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.